Hey YouTube, this is Ras Magas, and this is not real life. And today, I've got a different kind of video. I did one of these a while ago, where I was looking into the God of War trailer, and before it came out. And right now, we're gonna actually be taking a look at it. Of course, I'm pretty sure you can probably guess just by looking at this text. We're gonna be looking at Village, Resident Evil 8. And I do think it is important that they listed it that way. They practically said so in the developer diary. It's not a developer diary. They had a message that had some additional stuff. So what we're gonna do is go frame by frame. I even have the little fairy tale story written down, um, broken up in lines the way I believe it's Mia who said it. And this game has got me to try. I was excited so much by this trailer that I'm going back to play Resident Evil 7, which I haven't played. So you have to forgive me if I miss some things that you might notice just because they were in Resident Evil 7. I know a little bit about it, and I'll speak to that as much as I can. I literally started it. I was working on Let's Play, but there was an issue with the audio, so we're going to redo all that. So don't worry about that. Today we're talking about Resident Evil 8. And right off the bat, comes up with his doors are closed. And I think most people are going to jump to conclusion. They're talking about a spoiler. Chris Redfield, not really. I think that's stuff. You can see he's also wearing some stuff here, so they definitely hunt creatures. And he says they are coming, which, it's not a surprise. But here we can see a better shot of these skulls, and they're just really weird looking. So that might be significant. Um, the the destroyed potatoes are here again. I mean, they're not really destroyed, but they're not good either. Um, and we all know what's going to happen right now. He looks out. Did I miss it? I think I did. Flash, and it's not. No, it's just rust. And then we see the first shot. This part shows us that there are these werewolves, and there actually is a comic out there apparently where Capcom. I guess not Capcom proper, but it's a weird comic book where apparently Jill shoots a werewolf. That the Wikipedia entry on it was really short, so I guess it was just kind of like this one-off story. But there is precedence for this in the Resident Evil universe apparently. Let's see here. Um, Weird looking skulls. Yep, a lot of them. And we move on to this scene. He's got his little over under, and he shoots at something, but we cut to a completely different shot. And I mean, everyone knows what happens in this scene, but it's cool to see. Oh, it cuts again. Okay, there, boom. It's just cool to see it. He gets grabbed. We all knew he was gonna get grabbed, and we cut again, and we're actually not in the same location if I'm not mistaken. It might be a different part of the house or like a shed or something. And Ethan gets grabbed from below. So let's keep moving along. We got some more forest. And I think at this point we're just having music swell. So this thing is pretty crazy, and the developers actually made a huge deal about pointing this out. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I'm going to refer to this as the cult symbol. We have clearly some wings. There's four in the developer secret special message. You can see this image a little bit clearer. There you can see the stakes or nails or something here that correspond with the wings. And even this thing and the bramble around here is just easier to look at there. And this shows up multiple times in the trailer, but I'm going to call this the cult symbol. Uh, the I'm pretty sure everyone's already done this. People are getting really heavy Resident Evil 4 vibes. I think people are already referencing one of the characters as the merchant. Is that the merchant? He actually reminds me of, I think it was Arden from Final Fantasy 15, and an actor, what's his name? Peter Stomare or something like that. I forget. But he always plays these kind of crazy roles. Um, so this here is a statue of a woman, obviously. She's holding a sword, and there's a goat on this shield. And I didn't understand why a goat, but Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. In my research, that's the wrong story. Uh, in my little research, I found a, here we go, a story about a goat and her three kids. For those of you who don't know, baby goats are also called kids, um, which may be the reason why we call kids kids. But so the gist of this story is that the kids stay at home because it's dangerous, and the mom has to go out and get food and that kind of thing. And it's kind of like Little Red Riding Hood or like Three Little Pigs, Little Pig, Let Me In, that kind of thing. And it's all these stories kind of mashed up together with like more stuff on top of it. So the basic premise, if you want to read this, look it up on Wikipedia. It's a really interesting story actually. Um, the goats, the goat mother, basically somehow is in lawed. It says actually, I forget what the term is, but somehow the goat is in law to a wolf. And yeah, she's a widow goat and her three kids, of whom two older ones are misbehaved and the youngest obeys the mum. One day the goats all gathered, yada yada, and she's got to go get food because times are not great right now. And the there's like a little song she sings about how to let them know that she's back. And the wolf of thing, oh, he's also the godfather and therefore an in-law. There we go. That's the part I remembered. But he, he's a wolf, right? So he sets his heart on like eating the kids, literally. And he comes in and he does the thing, and like they're like, "No, you're not him." The youngest one is like, "No, it's not him, and it's not her." Excuse me. And like he's like, "Fuck," and he like goes to get his, where is it? He gets his tongue and his teeth sharpened, and he returns and he has a softer voice. His voice is not coarse anymore, because yeah, there we go. The song's performed in a coarse voice, and when he returns, he sings it in a softer voice, and he tricks the oldest one, as you can see right here, to let the stranger in. The other two hide, and instantly, the oldest one is like murdered straight up, just decapitated, and this must be like a weird like we don't have it in our culture, and I don't mean to be weird like it's bad or something, but it's just something we just don't share culturally here in the states. Um, when he eats the brother, it must be like a weird politeness thing, like that we just don't have an equivalent for. But he immediately wishes up and say like it's something like "Oh, bon appetit," or like So here it says the roughly translation is "May it serve you," and as a result, he reveals his hiding place, and the second one's killed. So the wolf then, having killed both of these children, excuse me, these goats, and puts their heads on the mantle and like makes them smile. So when the mom comes back, she doesn't initially realize that they're dead. The youngest explains to the mom when she does return what happened, and they plot their revenge. And they basically end up burning the wolf alive after tricking him into having a feast. Where the mom is like, "You know what? I know you murdered my kids, but like I'm over it. It's okay. I forgive you. And why don't you come to our house for this big dinner we're planning for like the funeral?" I forget exactly what it's not. I don't think it's super important, but and eventually he falls into the pit and dies, and he's burned to hell, like that kind of thing. And so, why do I think the story is related to it? Aside from that, it's from that region. Well, if we go back, actually, that's not what I want to do. If we go back to the shield, I saw an instant parallel in that, like, the goat story must be a protective story. Like, you gotta be vigilant. You gotta remain, like, careful and all that kind of stuff. So, why wouldn't it be the crest of a shield, right? So, hopefully, I thought the story was really interesting, and it kind of gives a really cool, like, depth to the lore, like, of this area. And it doesn't really necessarily add to the story of Resident Evil directly, but I think it's really colorful and it's really cool. Let's move on. So here we see the first shot of the cult symbol. I'm just gonna call it that. But this one's painted, and this one looks really crazy. And you can see the wings are more stylized paint slashes here, but there are these runes, and there actually are. I looked it up. I couldn't verify. I didn't take the time to verify that these runes match up with real life runes, but in that region, runes were used. So, like, they're doing a lot of stuff to like link it to like way older time frame and that kind of stuff in the region, like the lore and history of the region. So let's keep moving. This is a courtyard. It's a graveyard. You can see a great shot of the castle here. But this shot I find exceptionally interesting because we have something similar, and I'm not gonna remember all of it because it's all real new information. But based on my knowledge, uh, a lot of lore over there is differently than the way we see it. Not everything is so distinct, and this could be part of it because it's so old. Part of it's because different cultures are intertwining. But this relief here is really interesting, and this creature may actually correspond with some of the creatures of that region. Like I think one's called a balur, a zimu, and things like that. But as you can see, this is going to be a puzzle. We're going to have to find two pieces. I'm pretty sure this is the same woman from earlier. She's got the same sword, the same clothing, and the goat. But so this is a little bit difficult to tell, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is probably a baby type character. I know it's gross and it's like it's real dark, but that's the realm we're dealing with right here. And you can see these reliefs are really interesting because here, this guy might actually. Now that I'm looking at it, initially I just decided that these guys were all burning, because I'm guessing that's what these flames are, but this guy kind of has a look like one of the characters later when he's in the transform screen. A lot of people are being impaled. This just kind of correlates back to that region because there's a very famous dictator. I mean, dictator. He was the king of that region, and today we know him as Dracula. But Vlad Tepes was very well known for impaling his enemies. So that could just be that. Like it alludes back to the history. These hands right here look like they're pulling people down. So there's like definitely like a heaven hell motif going on this picture. These here, it's hard to see in the 1080 video, but like on the 4K one, it's actually a little bit clearer. We'll go back to that lady and the baby in a second. And obviously, actually, the cult symbol deals heavily with baby imagery and I guess fertility and things like that. So we're gonna have to deal with that kind of symbolism. There we go. But on the 4K video, if you're playing along at home, these actually look like feathers. You know, not just kind of bursts of fire, but they look like little feather swirls, which also tied it back to the cult symbol for me. This is definitely hard to see on this video, so you might want to see the 4K one and blow it up. But actually, there's two figures right here as well. This one's a naked woman, and this one looks like a clothed woman. And I think, if I remember correctly, she was holding a baby. People on fire, yada yada. I mean, like, the details just look amazing, though. Gold Shield also has two figures. Yep, naked woman left, unknown. A woman with child. Not quite clear. So we move over, and we have this lady. And as of yet, this lady is, I believe, unnamed. She's holding a baby. She's definitely got, like, a peasant, I guess, look, a rural kind of look. And I think this is definitely going to play into like what's going on, and there seems to be like maybe some bloodline genetic things going on. Why would they show us the baby, right? Unless maybe we have concern for the baby's safety. But these are going to be integral characters. This shot is actually really quick, and I think this is also what helped people pick up the Resident Evil 4 vibes really quick because we see the villagers, they're working. I'm going to guess these back here are runes, but to me it looked like the letters KIDISIV, and I could not find anything, or it could be SIII now that I'm looking at it because they're separate sticks. But obviously those didn't yield anything, especially if they're runes, because this bone structure or these hanging things, they look similar in other shots, and I could just be like really overlooking what's into it, but the way it's laid out here definitely looks like it spells something out, and I can't really VII period I. Well, it's not. It doesn't spell that, so whatever. I couldn't find what that was, but if you guys know below, like, let me know what you think that is, or if you found something that relates to those letters. I thought it could be Latin. I mean, if it's just runes, I can't figure that out. I'm not like a linguist, but it was worth a Google. This is a really ornate gate. We introduced to another character. I'm gonna call him the groundskeeper until his name is revealed. This shot, I didn't see anything particular except for these right here, these hourglass shapes. I don't know what they represent directly, but I do know that, like, for example, one of the things that just because the whole thing's creepy, spiders, particularly the black widow spider, does have that symbol on it. It's red, so it could be a dangerous symbol. But I think it's just that I'm putting two dangerous things together. This guy also has an over under shotgun. So here we can see some of those bone structures, and there's some claws hanging here. It's a little bit more clear. They're clearly not just a scarecrow. Maybe they're to ward off people. This looks like a totem of some kind. We get a bigger shot of the gate, so this is just kind of backing up. Similar to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild trailer where nothing was in order. Let's see. Yeah, yep. And in this shot where he's closing the gate, the gate looks really damaged, but this stuff like stood out to me because it's actually a little too red to be rust, and I don't know if that's on purpose or if actually rust can be that red when it's kind of fresh. Because my understanding is rust is more brown, orange, looking color with like black, and here this could be overthinking it because just like I was just thinking mechanically, this would be very difficult for that to work. But this kind of looks like a bite mark, yo. Like, see, there's like little gaps here for the teeth. It's got that curvature. It looks like it kind of goes around this side, but how would you get your face up on there? But maybe if you're in a werewolf-driven rage, you might try and achieve something like that. But so this lady instantly like brought to me like funeral vibes. It could just be the local garb, but I feel like this stuff has to signify something, and I wasn't able to discover precisely what it was. But there were, where did it go? References to things like that. Come on. Yeah. Oh, this hasn't come up yet. Oh, it hasn't come up yet either. Um, mm, but so you can look like I've got a lot of tabs here open. They're all like about how craziest like these things are, and they seem. Oh, here we go. Here's the cult symbol. Like it's pretty clear, um, and we'll come back to that. Bum, bum. So the only other thing that this shot specifically spoke out to me was that this thing right here looks like it's either a clock or a mirror. Because if it's a mirror, it's a weird place for it. If it's a clock, well then maybe it's just a reflection from where we're sitting. We can't really see it. So this is that same girl holding the baby. So she's gonna be important, and uh, what she serves, it might be. Well, a lot of the vampire myths and all these old myths and like stories always deal with women and fertility and like taking the young, taking women, and obviously like people don't refer to it as much, I guess, now because of current sensibilities. But like a lot of these old stories would deal with like virgins were always taken as well. So I mean, if that's her baby, then we know that you those things may not be compatible, but they okay, we'll worry about that in a second. Because if she's the mom of the child, maybe she's just taking care of the child. It depends, and like with religious symbolism and all this stuff intermixing, maybe she is the parent, um, and is being raised for a particular reason by this cult. Let's see. So here, this shot is really fast, but you can see all these things swarming, and the best I can tell is these are bats. And yep, yeah, there we go. Bats, yep. And the whole vibe says. Actually, when I first saw the trailer, I didn't immediately jump to the fact that it was Resident Evil. I actually thought we were looking at a Castlevania game, to be completely honest. Until like we saw Ethan and like that kind of stuff. But like some of the other things, because I wasn't familiar with Resident Evil 7, um, I didn't realize that was that character. So I was just like, is this like fucking Castlevania? It's not, but let's see. So we got Forest, and now we got the groundskeeper. That might not be what he is, but he's pointing at something. Um, this shot confused me because I guess it's just an action shot, but like I was like, why are we looking at his hand firing the shotgun? Or like it's I guess it's like one of those shooter. We got a close up of the baby. Do you have anything important to say about the baby? Nope. So this is actually the biggest in this trailer, where they show the painted symbol and you can see the runes clearly. Obviously on the 4K one you can see it better. Around the This is more, it's more a fetus than it is a baby, an embryo if you want to call it that, and so there does seem to be a crazy thing about birth and transformation, because like those things kind of go hand in hand, and the unlimited potential of infancy, maybe and like the unlimited potential of something that has yet to be born. So that's actually, it's pretty kind of like evocative imagery. So this is the same. I believe this is the old lady from earlier. She's helping the groundskeeper, and you can see he's been injured, but we don't see exactly where, because I think that's just a shadow on his arm down here. Um, so this is pretty crazy, yo. So Umbrella is incorporated with this, and I'm pretty sure everyone jumped to the obvious conclusion that this is a puzzle of some kind. Uh, but I think like this is a little bit crazy because this stuff must be old, right? So we're out in the middle of like the Slav. Well, okay, Romania is not a Slavic country technically, but it's in that region. In the Carpathian Mountains, there's ancient history going on here, and we have the umbrella logo. So going on, and this is actually something I do want to bring up, a different story, um, where this is actually another European folktale from Romania, and it's about youth without age and life without death, right? This story is broad stroking it is about an emperor and an empress, and they could not sire a child for some reason. But eventually, they find a wise man who's like, "You can, but you won't keep your son," you know. And uh, why is this story important? Let's see. Because if nothing else, is this not the goal of the Umbrella Corporation? Right? Like, yeah, like the T virus, I think was supposed to make like Super Wesker or whatever, that kind of thing. But like, if you remember from Resident Evil 5, I believe it was, I think it's Spencer in the mansion, and his goal was he wanted to become a god, and so this could be part of that, and it just happens that all their viruses just work out in doing other really horrible things, but in a weird way bring you a life without death, kinda. I guess you could consider being a zombie that, like the tyrants have regeneration, all that kind of stuff. This is actually an interesting story too, and I definitely give you recommend that you should read it. Um, it's not that long. It's really interesting. The boy actually ends up meeting some, I guess they're fairies. So, and like just to go back, like fairies and vampires and werewolves, and it seems like in this part of the region, based on what I've read about them, they're not so clear cut the way we see them here. We don't think of fairy and think like, "Hey, listen!" Like, you know, they don't have that over there. Here we do, and like vampires, like, "I want to suck your blood." Like, you know, all these things are kind of, sort of mixable, and they don't have really clear borders. So, where this prince meets a bunch of fairies, they kind of have correlations with succubi, like not in this story, but like, and there's like witches, and they have crazy powers and that kind of stuff. And he, I won't spoil the story for you. This is actually interesting. Go read it. Um, but so this makes me wonder if Umbrella has actually been here for way longer, and they're actually pushing it back in age way deeper than we used to think it was. So, um, I believe it was founded by, God, I can't remember, Spencer Marcus. Correct me in the comments, please. I'm just not gonna remember. But you know, you guys know. These images. This looks like a bug to me. The sun and moon are obviously like ancient imagery. The mermaid threw me off at first, but then I found out there's actually a recreation of the famous Little Mermaid statue in Romania with like a slightly different face, and they actually also have, where did it go? Um, Similar kind of myth actually. Where is it? Is it on this one? Mm, so here we go. If we look at the Slavic counterpart of the Greek sirens and naiads, yada yada yada, the part that I thought was really interesting is that they are the restless spirits of the unclean dead. That probably means they died by not good methods. And what else is a not good method if you're ripped apart by a werewolf or vampires or experimented on by Umbrella Corporation, become a zombie? So there's a lot of these really cool parallels that are starting to pop up just in the story and just with the parallels of folklore from that region. And or maybe I'm just reaching, but I think you guys will find that interesting. Go take a look at it. The horse, actually, I guess I'll talk about this now so I don't forget. In that story I was just talking about, this one, there's actually a point in here where the guy needs to the well, so what happens? Okay, this the emperor can't get his son to stop screaming when he's a baby after he's born, right? So normally you can calm down your baby, you can blah blah blah, you can like you hug him, you pat him on the back, you bounce him up and down a little bit, that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, this baby just would not calm down and just kept crying, crying, crying. So the father starts promising everything he can think of, right? So he's like, "Look, I'll give you like this kingdom, that kingdom, like if you'll just be quiet." Like the baby doesn't be quiet. I'll like let you marry any princess or like whoever, like for your wife. He doesn't stop crying, and then finally, he says like, "Hush, my boy, I will give you youth without age and life without death." And then the prince stops crying, right? So the reason I brought this whole thing is the boy grew up, became real intelligent, studied with everybody, yada yada yada. But then he remembered the promise his made to him when he was a child, right? And the father being like, "Dude, I was just trying to shut you up. You're a baby." I said, "Whatever the hell I needed to shut you up." Um, and he's like, "Well, if you can't give it to me, I will go find it." Uh, the reason I'm bringing this up now is because the father has a very sickly horse in his stable, and for some reason he decides that this is the horse, and the horse can speak. Actually, the horse is actually very intelligent, um, and he tells him to do some stuff, and yada yada. He does all the stuff, and the thing that here, this is where it blew my mind because there's a parallel with the image we saw earlier. All the swords fell off instantly where it stood because it was like magical. He fed the horse the special boiled milk oats. He found his dad's old stuff, like the weapons and the old clothes from when he was, and there it stood a strong, well formed animal with four wings. Okay, so like this. See, I know it sounds conspiracy like, but let's go back to the. Where did it go? Oh my god, I'm losing all my pages. Nope, wrong one. Nope, wrong one. This one. Boom, four wings. Okay, so like, hey, I don't know, like I'm just saying, and four wings. Obviously, black wings and black birds have long foreboded death in lots of cultures. There's actually cultures in this region that deal with the owl being a dangerous creature as well. Whereas, like, we remember the Roman and the Greek um, iteration of it more for like this kind of storytelling, where they always talk about how it's a wise animal, but like here they have knowledge. And actually I found this very interesting. So there's a creature called a how do you say this, styrax, and you see there's an owl right there. But at the very bottom of this page, this part is what really stood out to me. um, in Romanian, strigat, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Romanian people out there, apparently means scream. Correct us if this is wrong. and Strigoacia, whatever, is the name of the Roman feminine vampire, and Strigoi, Strigoi. Okay, we're gonna go with Strigoi. Is the Roman male vampire. So already we're getting vampire links right away, and they have the ability to scream loudly, especially when they become poltergeists. Which see like there's already that like weird, not um, they're not completely bounded creatures the way we think of them as like vampires are this, they like the creatures in Blade, they're the creatures in, well, maybe not Twilight, but like like yeah, Twilight, right? So like they suck blood, they avoid the light, yada yada, blah blah. However, this is also the Romanian name for the barn owl, which is probably why they were owls at the beginning, and this kind of moth. So we're already getting like bad, and like the omens of the owl was like that somebody was doomed or that kind of thing. So let's see. Oh, we're on the same page. Yeah. So bad. It's bad. However, so we have an embryo. Let's make this full screen. And you can see this way more quality. This is the 4K video. I don't know if you guys can see it on my video because mine's not 4K. But definitely check this out. This is from the special developer message. And you can see this baby has clearly been manipulated, if we can even call it a baby. This embryonic organism, this fetus, has clearly been manipulated. There's a clear, like what looks like stitching here, so there's a scar. So something scientifically, maybe crazy stuff's going on. I know these are probably just pins that hold it in place, but I feel like there has to be a significance to the 4, and I couldn't find data that showed what the 4 is specifically symbolically to that region. Like a lot of numbers are known to have symbolic meaning, but in Japan, 4 symbolically is a number that is maybe not such a great number because she and like is ichni sanshi, yeah, she is the number 4, but that's also really close to the word for death, so that number is this famously like unlucky number. And we have this bramble here, and since we're already looking at bird-like thing, this is a nest, right? And so like stay with me here, okay? What is a nest if not something to incubate something? And what is the incubator for a baby but a person? Okay, so it's like they're going pretty deep with that imagery, or at least that's what I'm getting out of it, okay? Um, please tell me what else you guys saw in this image, particularly. Write it down in the comments, so I can see what you guys are discussing. I have not watched anybody's videos about this yet, so I'm definitely gonna watch Sphere Hunter's take on it once we're done with this video. Once I'm done making this one, but we're not quite done yet. Okay. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Enjoy that in screen for a second. So maybe they're pushing Umbrella back deeper, further back to go back to the lore of this region. This region is so rich in lore of immortality, maybe, or power, things like that. So they're tying Umbrella to be that old, and that's pretty crazy, yo. But aside from that, like everything else in this game, it looks amazing. So we get this shot back in the woods, and as you probably noticed when you're watching the trailer, these shots are starting to speed up near the end. We get that girl again, and a new character who is not the groundskeeper, and he's not the guy from the beginning either. He's hurt. Can't really say very much more about that. This looks like a reveal, like something just was revealed to them, and she's stunned. He maybe has his wits about him a little bit more, and he's like, "Yo, this is bad news. We got to get the hell out of here." So that's why he's like pulling her, and she's still like looking. So actually, I don't think it was the same guy as earlier either. They might have shown him earlier in the shot with the white shot with the bats in the background, because we see them again here. So we saw the horse on that Umbrella logo thing, and now we have a dead horse here. Too much, maybe. There might be some lore but really what I think this shot is showing us is the violence that happened to this poor animal. because of what we're gonna have revealed in a little bit, are overly hairy friends, or maybe not so friendly friends. Okay, something's freaking her out. She's trying to keep it out. Gameskeeper is not happy to see her, and this brings back the goat imagery. And so the goat is a complicated symbol, I guess, because like for them, in that, at least in that one story, the youngest goat would act as a protective symbol and something we should actually be happy for. And like, goats are a much cheaper livestock that can help farmers and people subsist on their own. But we also have the Western imagery here of the goat with like Satan and satyrs, and they're not really great and that kind of stuff. And the fact that this goat is black really gives like complex, like contrasting images. There we go. So here we got this creepy old lady for a shot. Wait, she's gonna have close up. There we go. And I think we actually saw it a second ago, but on the folklore side, I need to stop doing that. There are actually things for this, like so. A mischievous or old mad woman living in the forest. She is the opposite of fairies, so she's not good. uh, but is also the protector of animals and plants, brews potions, and helps injured animals. Yeah, so it's like, so nothing is really clear cut with some of these things, you know. And like as soon as I saw this, I was like, look, these. I was like, wow, they really did their research. So if I can come across these in like my bare minimum of what you can consider research, like you gotta know for sure Capcom and those folks definitely did a lot of deep research, and they really delved down into like what these stories mean and how they affect us on an emotional level, like how they affect us in like a primal level. um, and here we go again, she's thought to attack children. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This stepmother of the forest kidnaps little children and enslaves them. See, so there's a lot of like dark imagery around kids. And yes, I know some of this is probably to help kids back in the day not running into the woods and that kind of stuff. But a lot of these stories, usually, if they don't have any truth, like in the classic sense of the word, like, you know, you are watching a video right now on YouTube, that is true. But like they have narrative truth where something can be true in a narrative sense where it has way deeper meaning to us. So that's how like a lot of religious texts are true. Is that, yeah, they didn't happen, but the underlying message has a deep truth to it. And a lot of great fiction has narrative truth in it. So, and that's can help it resonate with us. Um, what's Bediris? Oh, here's more bird stuff. So, yeah, yeah, an avian familiar. So like, there's clearly like some witchcrafty, like, so we're definitely in the occult realm. Okay, so if I remember, this one was one of them too. Yeah, yeah. Oh, this one just for shits and giggles. Like I think it's actually great because, oh wait, here we got another four thing. That's why I kept this. Um, so apparently Tuesday, I think before it was just Tuesday, you know, like it was just Tuesday. It's the most important day of Chung Li's life. Um, but we get another thing of four chores for women, and like, this is a different time frame, so like you just gotta take it for what it is. That's just the history. Um, chores, and this is pre-Christian, it seems, from that region. And so Tuesday must have been a different day at that time, and it would have been like their Friday or Sunday or Saturday. Um, so it's really crazy. And then um, eggs, right? And what is an egg but not an incubated baby, right? So there's all this fertility symbolism going on right now, and it's like I'm geeking out right now. Sorry. So let's go back more, and I think we get a really close up of the woman's face. On either this and the 4K video, I couldn't see if her eyes were like something was going on with them, but she creepy as fuck. Okay, so something happened, explosion. Girl's got a gun, and we meet the first of. I'm just gonna go vampires, okay? Like, you can get mad all you want, but like, they're clearly hitting that vibe, right? So like, like a rural village in the middle of Eastern Europe, like aristocrats, like she's so pale, like it's all white. They have phones though, so there's that too. Side note, I actually thought this was a safe, but it looks like it's just a door. But pay attention. These paintings are actually going to come up in a couple shots from now. Um, Boom, right here. So this is one of two things. Okay, so one, the the answer I hope is not true is that the developers didn't have enough time to make more paintings. Okay, that's a real life answer. The answer I would like to be true is because these two guys are integral to the plot and to this. It's not even a mansion. This is a freaking castle at this point. Um, so we got these two. I'm gonna call them sub vampires or whatever you want to call them. They're subs to the other girl because that's clearly how they act or how they're portrayed in the next couple of shots. But like you see all of these like bugs and stuff going on here, which may be a conduit for infection, which is what I had written down here. Yep. Fade women. Big swarm. Yep. These characters are important. Yeah. Yep. And we go back. We keep going. And now we got all the ladies, right? So these shots are actually pretty quick. So, and I hope it's not annoying to hear all those sounds. So, when I keep forwarding it, actually, you know what? Here, the first time I saw this, I thought she had like a red cap, but you can actually see this is actually just part of the chandelier, and somebody has just recently been impaled on the chandelier, has been hurt. It's harder to see on her, but here you can tell. Look at this and look at this. They've definitely got blood all over their mouths and their faces. And boss lady here, you know, is clean as well. Okay, well, relatively speaking, we'll say clean. Um, she's saying something, and these things, like, dude, like, it blows my mind the detail in these scenes, right? So look at these. Oh, okay, we came back to the boss lady. Do you have anything special written about her? Ornate room furnishing, green hall, close up of vampire. Oh, I call them vampire tramps in my notes. uh, One shot. Okay. So I guess I didn't see anything particularly interesting in this shot after we saw the bloody chandelier, but they're clearly speaking to Ethan, which we'll see later. Let's see. Do I need to move a little bit? Oh, go back. Okay. So this is a huge ornate hall, and it was really hard to pick out details. I was looking at this for some time. This thing right here, this structure, it reminds me of these structures here, where you can like kind of stand on the higher level and look down, but you can tell it's clearly not the same. And this is just check out the high quality video, yo. They don't have the same gilded effect, so I don't know if this is something just unrelated whatsoever. It's just like a cool thing, and if I knew architecture, I would know what it is, but I don't know architecture. The other thing I noticed here is like, what is this wooden thing? I couldn't tell, and there are these weird shadows here. So this looks like a fireplace, but there's clearly not a fire in there right now. So keep note of that. There might be a passageway, or who knows what else is going on here. And this thing, which I think there's a better close-up in the other video. We can take a look at that later. But what it makes me think of is like, it's something like, if we're just thinking about Resident Evil games, there's 4 pillars right here. There's going to be, you have to do 4 things to open the door, or, something like that. But I couldn't really make out the details, but there's figures and stuff carved into these reliefs. So we get our first shot of angry hairy boy. And there's another one up here. Oh, there's another one down here too. So these are not like solo encounters, to the best of my knowledge. We get our first shot of, this is what tipped me off that this might be Resident Evil, is that this giant like executioner kind of guy Uh, and yep, that's this one. And there you go. Friggin' like so there's I was just so amazed at how much like I'm able to pull up these parallels. So I'm not, this could be just random mass speculation, overreaching, whatever you want to call it. But they definitely do have a special term for a giant. So at the very least, maybe these are what these enemies are called, and that can help add color to the lore of their descriptions in Resident Evil 8. But yeah, so they have something like that already. So big dude jumps down. He upgraded from his grungy ass axe, which was pretty scary, to this really ridiculous looking hammer. We got this impaled dude. Dude's still here, and I think there's another one somewhere around here, which maybe not in this shot. Oh, there we go. It's right there. Boom. We get our first shot of our main boy. Maybe not our main boy, but one of my favorite characters in the Resident Evil series. Uh, Chris Biceps Redfield. And I believe this is Ethan and Mia's house. So we go back to this girl who, okay, like I mean, I don't really have anything to comment on what she is exactly, but she's clearly a very important character, and she's going to be prevalent in the story. Um, if we're talking about like maybe there's regional things like, actually, you know what? I'll wait till I get to that. Yeah. So she's from the area. She might be, well, she's not might be. She's going to be an important character. Uh, this guy reminds me of that actor. I think his name is Peter Tomare, or I can never remember. He always plays like this. He talks. He was even in Castlevania. He's a great actor. I love his work. Um, a lot of people got the merchant vibes. I also get vibes. He looks like Arden from Final Fantasy, but like more real, more less idealized, I guess you could say. Uh, and I don't think they revealed it. Yeah, there you go. I looked at the picture of the actor. It's not him. He just looks similar, but it's not the same guy. And we got our ninja SWAT agents who were sweeping Ethan's house. I'm assuming this is Ethan's house. Um, and there you go. So she's eating something out of his hand, or he's bleeding, and she's enjoying the flavor. Uh, yeah, his hand's still back there. So we get a close up of her face. I couldn't see anything in here because honestly, the decorations are so ornate. Aside from it being like they're obviously really rich, I couldn't pick out anything. Even her necklace just looks like really flower, like a ornate flower. It might be a specific flower, but I can't tell. So we get a roar of Buff Boy, Buff Werewolf Boy, from that shot earlier. He's got his little long hair, a little beardy, and sweeping wide shot to title reveal. So, okay, let's go back. So, obviously, I'm sure all of you have already seen this. It's gonna flash and it's gonna show the 7. I mean, excuse me, the 7, the 8. But this is where I want to bring up something to you people. This is a weird way to write this word. So this is clearly a coded message, and I don't think I've encoded the whole thing, but I feel like I've just stumbled on part of it, right? So 7, 1, age, right? Ethan, Resident Evil 7. Chris, Resident Evil 1. A new age of Resident Evil. The worlds are coming together. And actually, I still have this up too, I believe. Where is it? I need to keep better track of my friggin' tabs. Nope. Here we go. Definitions for the word age. I didn't know this, but an age can be considered a generation. So you can have 3 ages of people living in your house. So like my kid, myself, and my father would be 3 ages together. So that definitely makes me feel like generations are coming together in this game. Um, they're slightly separated by those periods to make the village part work. Um, but an age is also a century. I knew like an age could be like, the age of dinosaurs or the Iron Age, Stone Age, things like that. But these like definitions. So if you have something else figured out about the village word and how it's like a hidden message, please leave some information in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think that is. Uh, and yeah, just let me know because like I'm so hyped about this game, yo. Okay, all this lore has gotten me so excited. I'm making my way through the first. I mean, excuse me, the seventh one, um, the previous one to this one. Now because of this trailer, so yeah, and hey, let's do some housekeeping real quick. If you like this video, please hit that like. Help me get this video out to other people so we can have this great conversation because this is like this game has a different aura about it right now. Um, and hit that sub so I can keep bringing you guys these kind of videos. Um, I am a single parent. I have a day job. I'm trying to make this my day job. Anything you guys can do will help me out. I would love that. But enough housekeeping. We'll go back to the stuff. Let's see. So now we get dun 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 Chris Redfield, and the most surprising part of the trailer, he's talking with Ethan, and like I believe Ethan's like, Chris, like what the hell are you doing? Actually, let's just watch this part because it's pretty cool. Damn, my keyboard's loud. My mic is picking all that stuff up. So, let's go back real quick. I think people are misconstruing what's going on here. Because the immediate thought is that Chris is not doing something good. But what is Chris if not the ultimate, like, I gotta do it all the way to the end kind of guy, right? He's been dedicating his life to the eradication of Umbrella, the biohazard threat, yada yada yada, all that stuff. And Chris is shooting somebody, right? So, but he doesn't feel good about it, so hence he apologizes. But so we have two possible outcomes here, I think. One is that this isn't Mia. It is bioweapon M-I, M-1A, um, replacement Mia. Or if we go back to thinking that maybe Mia's from this region and her heritage is what helps her out in the seventh one. Because I happen to know that I don't know exactly the context of what happened in 7, but I do know that she's special. But she was working for, I guess, spoilers, the family who was there, and they work for, yeah, use it to cover yourself from the rain. So this might be actually not like not it's not just that like he's just killing her to make a dramatic scene, but like she might literally be a threat and maybe she doesn't know it, or she does and she's hiding it from Ethan. So there's a lot that could be happening right now that we don't really know, but I'm super stoked to find out what's gonna happen. Okay, so actually we're gonna have to cut a little bit. Yep, yeah, PlayStation. So let's take a look at some of the footage in the developer special message. Ninja Agents, yeah, vampires. Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, New Age Resident Evil, 7 meets 1. Because if it was 7 versus 1, I think it would be the word village might not work because Roman numerals are additive going left to right. Versus if you want to do subtractive, you would have to put I, V, I, and then that would be like 6. you know, but then they would just write 6, right? So it would be V Lodge, you know, but that's not what they're doing. And as we can see here in just a bit, they bring up it's called Village, and it's not Resident Evil. It's Village Resident Evil 8, you know? Yep, hope you had the chance to that trailer, yada yada. Yeah, and a lot of us are wondering why. And it's not enough that they're wondering. They're letting us know that this is important and something is going on in these words. And I think, like I said, I've come across part of what it is, but if you guys know more, let's definitely, as a community, I'm pretty sure we can piece this together. But let's see. So yeah, they point out that it's still a mainline game, and they're still treating it as that, even though the name is different. Um, did he? Yeah, it was my brother. He pointed out to me that the other game had a unification of the Japanese and the American audiences in it. And what I mean by that is that if you look at the title of Resident Evil 7, it's Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And for those of you who don't know, Biohazard is the original name of the series in Japan. And when it came to the States, I guess for marketing reasons, people didn't think Biohazard was a cool enough name or whatever. But, you know, we've grown up with Resident Evil. A lot of people like it. I think Biohazard makes more sense, but Resident Evil does have a cooler sound to it. So, you know, the worlds were kind of merging over there. But maybe they're taking it one step further here. Let's see. Yep, they point out you can see the Roman numeral 8 and the game logo. Yep, it's just not in name. And like there's this wording, and I can't pick out what exactly is, but they're definitely hinting real hard that the village is important and the village is community. I'm starting to think about it, but yeah. So, I'm just getting those fertility, like bad omen fertility symbol comes together. We'll have to see. Maybe Ethan's baby is going to be a monstrosity. That's why she has a book of fairy tales that she's getting ready for their kid. And Chris needs to stop the bioterrorism threat that it poses. Who knows? But I think that basically puts it what it is. I'm definitely going to start looking into what everyone else is saying about this stuff. I just want to go back and point out I don't think Chris is the one who they're talking about here. Um, or if they do, it's not just that because I feel like that's too obvious. It's too obvious of a correlation. Well, those are my thoughts, and I hope that breakdown of the trailer or seeing those images, like, you know, basically frame by frame, will help you guys figure out what you guys think is going on as well. I'm Ross Magas. Remember, if you like this video, hit that like, subscribe for more content. And if you really like this video and you want to help me out, you know, I am a single parent with a day job, and I'd rather do this for you guys. Go down to my Patreon and consider donating. You know, it's just $1. Once we get it off the ground, we'll figure out things from there. But like, thanks again for watching. Please, please, please let me know what you guys think because I really do want to know on this one. And I always want to know, but this one particularly because it's so lore interesting. Like the lore is so interesting. It's so much content in these like 2-minute trailers. Like when I sat down originally to watch this and take all these notes, before I realized it, I was like, this is a 2-minute trailer. I've been looking at this for 2 hours. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack here, guys. And come back. Remember, that's not real life. This is not real life. And I'll see you guys in my next video.